Hey guys, welcome to the lecture. And just for any library or any framework that you want to start with, your first question will probably be is where should I get my documentation? Where should I start my hello world and what should I do to get on track with learning that language? And that's what we're going to address in the next couple of lectures. So the first thing that you will do for any such library or framework you're learning is you will hit its homepage. And that's what we will do for React.js too. You can just do a Google search on saying React.js, or you can go on to facebook.github.io/react. And as you can understand, this is an open source library by Facebook, and that's why it sits on Facebook's own GitHub. Once you land on the page, the next thing you will want to do is probably read through the features that React.js brings to you. And once you're done, or probably you want to play along with these examples that you see online, you can very well do that. But for our example, what we will do is we'll click on the Get Started button, and here you can see the hello world. But how do you implement the hello world? There are different options. What we can go is we can go to installation. Now, once we go into the installation, there are many ways you can add React to a new or an existing project. And you can see there is also a way of creating a single page application using React with some commands, of course. And we will talk about these in greater details during the lectures. Also, the next thing is we can add to an existing application, and there are other options too. But the interesting option that we want to use right now is using a CDN. Now, when you head on to the section where you have using a CDN, you can see there are two options. One, you have the script, which is the normal script tags. And of course, this you have a minified version. Just copy the minified version and head on to codepen.io. When you go on to codepen.io, you can see a screen something like this. Of course, you'll see a new pin out here or new pen. And once you do that, you can click and you can see. Your view may not be the same because I think this is the default view that you see. But for our purpose of the exercise, I've changed the view to this one. Now, that being said, you can also change the settings where you can decide the pre-compiler you want or the pre-composer. So it has a HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So in JavaScript, I selected Babel because React works well with Babel. Now, once you have done save and close, what you can do is you can start pasting your minified files that you just copied. Now, one thing to note is you can see React @15. Now, React keeps getting updated. However, 15 is a very stable version, or which is the production version of React. There are many major and minor versions like 15.4.2, 15.4.3, etc., which may come and which may become the stabler version. But when you do a React @15, you are rest assured that the most recent or the most stable version is what you will get. Now, that being said, let's write our first div in our HTML. Let's say div id equals to root. Once you close the div, this is the div where your entire React can actually be outputted. So this div can be updated with React contents. Now, this is your div that can be updated. Now, how do you use React? So if you know, or if you have heard ever, that React provides you with a virtual DOM. And as you know that Facebook identified that the major time of updating a JavaScript page or an HTML page goes on to updating the DOM when you want to do a quick render. Now they created a virtual DOM, which means the user can immediately see what the impact is. However, this virtual DOM, whenever there is bandwidth, will make the changes to the actual DOM. So that is the ideology with which they went with. And as you can see with our imports or our includes out here, which is React DOM is included too. So we can use that React DOM very easily. What we can do is we can use the React DOM and we can use many of the API methods, and the one that we are going to use, it's called render. And as the name suggests, it renders something. It accepts two parameters. So parameter 1, parameter 2. Now, what is parameter 1? Well, parameter 1 is nothing but the HTML that you need to output. It could be one line of HTML or it could be your entire website, which is the whole of your HTML page. It depends on what and why you want that. The second parameter is, of course, the ID or the element in which you want to output this HTML. So for our example, this parameter 1 will become our hello world. So let's say h1. Let's close the h1 and let's say hello world. Now for parameter 2, what we can do is we can use the JavaScript's document.getElement by ID. And of course, this div, that root that we created, can now be very well used. So let's pass the ID of root and let's put the semicolon. And the moment we do that, we should start seeing the output as hello world. So that was our very first hello world application built with React.js with very minimal code and probably actually nothing. All we wrote was one div and one h1 tag that gave us the hello world. In the next video, we will enhance this example to create something more awesome. And I'll see you in the next class.